The first thing to do is to preheat your oven to 425 and or 400, and you're going to open up and put 1 cup of raisins and 1 cup of warm water. The idea is to let your raisins plump up while you're getting the rest of the bread pudding ingredients together. And the other ingredients are 1 can of sliced pears, 1 can of evaporated milk, 2 sticks of butter, and 6 eggs, and 10 slices of bread. Doesn't matter what kind of bread, I just like to use whatever's on hand. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't say use don't forget the sugar. According to my great-grandmother's recipe that I'm using, I'm supposed to be using some brown sugar, but I don't have any brown sugar, so I'm just using 1 cup of regular sugar, and then about 2/3 a cup of some confectioner's sugar, some vanilla to taste, and some ground cinnamon to taste. Now, I'm going to cream together 1 cup of sugar with 1 stick of butter in a skillet. While I'm waiting for the butter to melt so I can mix in with the sugar, I'm going to take 6 eggs and I'm going to beat them in a pot, and then I'm going to add the evaporated milk. I always say make sure you shake your milk well. Always forget. Okay, time to add the sugar to the butter mix. Stir and add a dash of vanilla to it, and just stir it till it's all creamed together. You don't want to stir it too long because then it becomes into like a stuff that you would make pralines from. Just enough to where it's blended together, no chunks, or don't even have to really worry too much about that. Just for a second or two. Then you can let it cool down a little bit because you don't want it to curdle with your eggs and milk mix, which I'm about to go do. But it doesn't take long at all to make this. So I'm setting it to the side. Now I'm going to beat the eggs. Okay, now I've gotten the eggs and milk together beaten, and I'm going to add the sugar and butter mix. Then you just mix it all together, and you can start adding your raisins, which you drain, and then also once you've got everything, the mixture beat together with the eggs and the milk and the butter and the sugar, you just add your fruit, drain the raisins, and drain the pears. Then you can add the bread. And see how the raisins are nice and plump? That's what you want. Draining the pears. And adding them to the mix. I'm going to give you an overhead view of what your mixture should look like. Okay, that's a better overhead view of what your mixture should look like. Now it's time to add your bread. I said earlier that I didn't have enough of one kind of bread, so I was saving some to use to make one whole thing of bread pudding, which 10 slices of bread is all you need. I'm still going to use 2 different slices, which I've never really used 2 at the same time. It's just plain Wonder Bread. I mean, this is some wheat bread. I've heard people using real fancy French bread, day-old French bread. I don't think it really matters a lot, but I do like the soft bread simply because it's easier to soak everything up and mix in really quick. So, and just break the bread apart. Don't worry about taking the rinds, the edge of the bread off. Just break it apart, mix it in. So this one's actually got 6 in it. So I should only need 4, but that one last slice was really small. So I'm just going to give it a little extra. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I got one little baby at the end. That should make enough to make for 10 full slices. So I'm just going to use the whole thing. Bread pudding's sort of like the gumbo of desserts. You throw in a little bit of everything together, but it's very easy to make. One of my most favorite things in the world to do. Of course, the best thing is the sauce, and we'll come to that at some point. But all you gotta do is just beat it all in. Let me show you an overhead. This is the bread before I mix it in, all broken up. And this is what it looks like after you mix it all up. Now time to put it in a pan. I'm going to cover it with some confectioner's sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, and put it in the oven for about an hour to 45 minutes. And now everything's in the pan. I evened it out a little bit. Now I'm going to put confectioner's sugar and sprinkle a little cinnamon on it and stick it in the oven for about an hour at 400. Now you don't want to totally cover it with confectioner's sugar or too much cinnamon. Just it should look something like this before you put it in the oven. Again, 400 for 45 minutes to an hour. Now while you're waiting, you can either clean up the kitchen or just go wait until it's ready. But I like to use my time as efficiently as possible, so I'm melting the butter. 1 stick of butter, about 2/3 cup of confectioner's sugar, and water about a cup, but not too much. You don't want to make it too runny or too diluted, rather. So I'm just waiting for the, and of course you can't forget the whiskey. This is some Jack Daniels, a little bitty shot, always to taste. Don't want to make your guests drunk. So I'm just waiting for the butter to melt. Got it in this little saucepan here. And I don't have a whisk, which I really like to use the most when I stir my stuff together. So you can always use a fork. And I guess that's what I'm going to do, is use a fork. Get any old fork. You can already smell the good bread pudding cooking in the oven, you know. So what you do is the butter will start cooking, stirring that up, so it's all melted, and you add the confectioner's sugar. And you're going to add the water, and you're going to stir it about 3 minutes until, see, I didn't even use the whole cup of water in there, still got it, some left. Stir it until it starts bubbling, and once it starts bubbling, then you can add the whiskey sauce, but stand back because it could explode on you. Just kidding, it won't explode, it'll just start bubbling. So I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes, and we'll see. This is the key, stirring the sauce. Stirring, constantly stirring. Okay, so the sauce is about to boil up. It's been a little bit more than 3 minutes, so I don't want to overcook it. So all I'm going to do is simply remove the sauce from the heat and add whiskey. You can see it bubble up a little bit. That is what your whiskey sauce should look like. And it should taste really, really good. Okay, You know it's done when you can smell it. It's been about 45 minutes. I got the whiskey sauce. I don't want to spill it, but you can see it just coming out of the cup there. I'm going to take out the bread pudding, and we're going to have a look-see. It should look really good, because it sure smells really good. And you got to be careful when you get it out of the oven, because it's going to be really hot. Looks really good. Now it's going to settle a little bit, but it's going to be actually better the longer you have it. It lasts for a good 4 or 5 days. Should be. Okay, there's the bread pudding in a nice little sauce bowl, and there is the bread pudding. I'm going to plate it, and there you have it. Bread pudding with whiskey sauce. Enjoy, bon appetit, and I will have the exact recipe following this video. Thank you for watching the Orange Grove Library Cooking Show.